Good evening, ladies. Welcome, welcome to day 6 of this 8-part Temple Talk series. Hurricane Florence has officially touched into the mountains tonight, and we have a beautiful, cool rain pounding itself outdoors in the forest and on the back deck. And I've decided to leave the door open so you may be able to hear some of that cleansing, purging, beautiful rain. And whoever hops on first, if it sounds too loud, please let me know and I will quickly close the door. So Leslie, if you don't mind, if you can hear me clearly, let me know and I'll keep that door open. It's a beautiful cleansing rain tonight. So welcome to Temple Talks Day 6. So tonight we are talking about honoring our word, speaking truth, having integrity with, awesome, thank you Leslie. Having integrity with thoughts, deeds, and actions, and how we speak that into the world, and also around trusting that others are speaking truth to us. And so we've been having a really powerful teaching series here over the past week since last Temple Tuesdays, getting awesome feedback from ladies about all the nuggets they're getting from this experience. So I'm so glad. It just goes to show that when we get inspired ideas that we move into action too, and we see the results from that, then it just affirms and confirms that call inside. So let that be an example to you, whatever call you're feeling inside to take action, that's an inspiration towards your dreams and vision for your life. Trust that it's there for a reason and that it's not just about you. That your destiny is for those you're here to serve in this path. That's my perspective. And that our lives have formed us uniquely to be of service to the people we're here to serve based on our unique experiences. And so this priestess path of awakening, this mystic path specifically I've created and walking in, this is a really powerful piece to get, is that our lives have created us in a very unique way to bring our skill set forward. And there's no separation from our personal life experience and the gifts we're meant to bring through. That the new spirituality, I believe, that is birthing on the planet at these times is asking us to be vulnerable, to ask for support, to be honest with who we are and what we desire. There's such a powerful force that is unlocked within us when we tell the truth about ourselves. And we heal the shadow parts of us that believe that we're not good enough, that we're not worthy, that we don't have it all figured out, that everybody else does and I don't. And it puts us in this place of isolation and disconnects us from the people that I feel we're meant to receive support from. And so I want to go ahead and introduce our pillar tonight, number 6 of the 8 pillars of the Mystic Priestess Path. I honor my word. I say what I mean, and my actions are aligned with my word. I trust that others are speaking truth to me, and I act accordingly. So, as with all these pillars, these are multifold, and I really hone in on what's the key piece to bring through tonight for this Temple Talk series, because each one of these, there's a reason why we spent an entire month on it in a 9-month immersive process. And that's still just a beginning, honestly, because again, these are like life skills that we didn't get to learn growing up that I believe are for the awakening woman in these times. And so when we talk about being in integrity with our word, so this is very deep, and this gets into a whole level of human consciousness and awareness that there are multiple layers of. Even for myself and trying my best to live a path of integrity and being truthful in word, deed, and action, I still catch myself all the time thinking of little things that are like, wait a minute, where did that just come from? Was that even mine? Was that some imprint from my parents? Did I learn that from somewhere? Like, that's not me. I don't actually believe that. And so we have multiple influences that inform our actions in the world. And so this is about bringing it home and starting to practice what it's like to speak truth to those around us and starting with ourselves first. And I think it's super important to be able to be as clear as possible as we are at this time about who we really are and what we really want. And there's a conversation happening in the private group of the women that have jumped into this 9-month immersive process. I want to bring some of that to the table tonight because you know, these are struggles all of us have. And there's this conversation piece around, you know, I'm afraid to say what I really want because I've wanted it for so long and it hasn't come to fruition that I'm kind of pissed off about that. I totally get that. And it's like, that's why I believe that for awakening women in these times, it requires that we have an edge of warrior-S within us, spiritual warrior-S. We must be willing to take a good look at these conversations to see what's actually ours and if we actually believe it. Because there's so many multiple influences, as I said, that inform who we are in the world and the actions that we take. So when we're starting to follow our intuition, our own intuitive guidance, maybe for the first time, it can be cloudy to know if what we're hearing is actually truth. And so it's kind of a trial and error situation that sometimes we make decisions, it creates results that don't serve our highest good. We might become a victim to that if we're not maybe enlightened around the situation at that time. And that's okay too. It's the world we live in. So we back up and say, okay, I just noticed that I became victim to that, but I created it. So let me back up and be like, okay, did I actually want to create that? Or did I create that out of default because of some past perception or belief system that I was carrying? So this is all woven into the aspects of telling truth about speaking truth into the world, because our words have power. And so thinking about them already has a level of power, but then thinking them through to giving word to them has the next level of power. And then why I love group work so much and the temple space of this 9-month immersive process and any type of spiritual group work, we have the thoughts that come through, and then being witnessed in that thought and desire of our creations is the next stage of creation. That's when we get to face all the fears of, like, I know what I want, but I don't know if I actually want to say it out loud because then I might be judged. Or what if I don't get it? What does that mean about me, that I haven't, that I'm not good enough somehow? And so with this piece around being afraid, in a sense of being clear about what we want because maybe we haven't gotten it before, and calling in this essence of Kali, who's the Hindu goddess of destruction. You know, she's a badass, as is Pele, two of the ones that I dance with. These are goddesses that embody the ability to be able to cut ties, to say no, to set boundaries, to be the destroyer and the creatrix at the same time, as Pele is. She can use fire to destroy, and she can also build new earth. So it's powerful mojo. And so communing with these goddesses is a way of understanding our highest selves and our divine abilities, which I believe a lot of the goddesses came through as archetypes showing us what we're capable of. I believe that we must gain some of those qualities that they carry to be able to cut away what isn't truth, to be able to speak what we know is, and to stand by it. Because for many of us that walk this path especially, we have these deep woundings around being chastised, killed, burned, nasty stuff around stepping out and being seen. And so that's actually a big component that has to be healed in this process, because we carry that wounding within our bodies. And it shows up as shadow resistance to stepping out into the world with our gifts, because they feel like a little baby, right? It's like, this is mine. This is what I want to bring forth. So like we want to protect it. We want to be careful with it so it's not harmed, that no damage comes to it. But there reaches this point when our destiny has awakened and we're moving towards it, and we heal all the parts to step into the first stage of that. And I know for myself, there was that point where I realized this is so much bigger than me. This vision calling me forth is absolutely for the world. And that's what I want to instill in you tonight, is that if you're feeling this deep call of destiny within, that there's something more for you, there's something big that's calling you out. Know that it feels that big because it's meant to be birthed into the world, because it is of service. And it's that big because it's bigger than us. It's beyond us. We're just a vessel for it coming through. So think about all of the revolutionary ideas that have come to the planet over thousands of years that have imprinted our society in a major way. And just think about every one of those visionaries that brought forth a new way of being in the world, and a spiritual concept that was like life-changing to our society and made an imprint for a very long time. They went through all their own fear. I absolutely guarantee you they did. They had mentors that believed in them. They had circles of support that said, you got this. We've got you. This is important. We believe in you. We believe in your vision. It's so critical to have that because we're not meant to do this alone. And so, kind of getting away from the pillar because it just like starts to tap into all these important things that need to be said. And so I trust that. I do want to bring back, though, this second piece of this sixth pillar. I trust that others are speaking truth to me and I act accordingly. I really feel that this aspect came through because, hi, Megan. Hi, Melcy. That's a cool name. That's a new name. Welcome, lady. Welcome, Debbie and Leslie. So the aspect of this, the second part of this pillar that's so important that needs to come through tonight, I feel, is think about the amount of time, especially as women, that we waste trying to figure out if what somebody said is actually what they meant. Think about that for a minute. How much time and energy, and I know for myself, when I was still in a pretty victim-y place and I had girlfriends around me that, you know, we talk about like what wasn't working and, oh, he said this and they said that and that happened and, oh my God, can you believe it? And that aspect is us not having faith that what was spoken is actually the truth. So think of the amount of energy that would be conserved and saved if we really believed that those that were speaking to us were speaking truth and we acted accordingly. And so we acted on what they said. And the reason this is so important because it puts the responsibility in their lap. That they said this thing, and perhaps clarifying, okay, so what you're saying is just making sure I hear you correctly, which is a good thing to learn how to do in relationships. You clarify that and you're like, okay, I'm going to act according to that, and we let it go. Instead of all of the time and energy we put into, did they really mean that? And did he mean that? And well, he said this, and his actions said that, but he said this, and we do it in relationship a lot, especially when we're learning how to be in relationship. And so just think for a moment how your life would be different if you took everything someone said as their truth. And I'm not saying capital T truth, because that has multiple interpretations, but in this case, their truth is what we want to talk about. And we act based on what we've heard. And so this simplifies so much because that energy reserve that has been put into trying to figure out can then go back to us and continue to focus on what we really want and creating the life of our desires. So an activity for you tonight, I've been giving you activities to follow up with for every temple talk. So what I'd like for you to do this evening, if you take this task on, is take a little bit of time with journal after this and think through what are the relationships in my life right now that I may be trying to interpret what's being said, what's happening, and how much energy is that taking. And so just tune in intuitively here and see if you get a number. What's a percentage number of the amount of energy this situation is taking from me? And then imagine how your life would shift if you start to focus that energy that you're losing towards trying to figure that thing out and focus on what you really want. So that's a follow-up activity for you tonight around this piece. And then just play with this concept and idea. Once I really started to get this, it was a huge relief because I grew up in a bipolar alcoholic home. I had a codependent mother. It was very sticky, no boundaries, really chaotic, a lot of emotional intensity most of my life until I left home at 18 and started to unpack all these boxes of stuff that I'd been given and try to understand what's mine, what was theirs, you know, what's the wounding that is being carried through to my lineage and how can I heal it? And honestly, the past 20 years has been working on that to get to a point where I'm like, whew, okay, I can breathe a little bit, got a pretty good understanding. I think I'm ready to teach this stuff. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, doesn't mean that I'm better than, but my divine guidance was it's time for you to step into teaching what you've learned because people are suffering. And I have some stuff I've learned and it's worked really well for me. And from that have put together this entire priestess path of awakening Because what I will say, over these past 20 years of doing a tremendous amount of personal growth work and trainings and programs and initiations and ordination, so much, that nothing has been the most impactful than stepping into the priestess work. It's amplified everything that I wanted and gotten me clear about it, and taking divine right actions, as I like to say, in alignment with that vision. And so it's like when we're carrying around these suitcases of understanding of our past and ourselves, we have to unzip it and start unpacking it. And that's what this process is about, is unpacking. Well, how did those shoes get in there? Those weren't even mine in the first place. So we start to see clothes that weren't even ours that somehow slipped their way into our suitcase. Then we get to like, oh, there's my favorite sweater. I've missed that. Oh my gosh. So using this as a metaphor to see all the emotional baggage that we carry, that's just part of the conversation. And so this is an opportunity to really dive into that more deeply, and to tune into our deepest heart's desires, and to speak that into the world with truth, love, and compassion, and trusting that others are doing the same. And the other cool thing about this is if we start to notice that those around us aren't really speaking truth, or they're speaking very sticky, like there's a lot of emotional stickiness that has you having to work so much at trying to figure out what they're saying, you may end up doing some cleaning house in your relationships. That's a natural part of this process. I've been through multiple opportunities where I had these amazing friends for a period of time, living in a certain area of the world for an incredible experience, and then it was time to go, and we all moved on our way very organically. It's happened multiple times. And so I just bring that to you, that there are people that are part of your tribe that align with you and who you are. Once you start to speak that into the world, they start to show up. They're like, oh, me too. Yeah, I'm like that as well. I have that same fear. Like, oh, you have that vision too? Oh my God. Like, just tonight, one of the women introducing herself on our page for the immersion program that's starting next week, she was sharing this vision of a book she wants to write. Turns out another woman in the program is a literary professor, and actually had a similar but different vision of a book to write, and they're already going to talk and collaborate. Like, that's the power of speaking our desires into the world. And we start to get past all the fear parts of that, like, what will people think, and I don't know if I can, hold this vision, and what if it doesn't work out? All that wounding stuff starts to be handled, because healing actually happens in action. It's the inaction that keeps us in a place of not only not manifesting and moving forward, but it also keeps us in the shadow conversation of what ifs. And so see what action you can actually take tonight that could be around clarifying some truth for yourself or someone in your life that could help you move forward towards that destiny that's calling you out. So, much love and blessings, gentle cleansing rains to you tonight. I hope you've all been safe through this Florence experience. I know we have rain over the next few days, but in large part we have been safe up here in the mountains. And our extra coolers and ice packs are on standby just in case. But sending blessings and the coolness of the breeze and water to you tonight. And hope you got some good juicy nuggets from tonight. There are 2 more talks in this series ending on Temple Tuesday. Today's the 16th, so next Tuesday, the 18th, will be the last one. And then we'll have a week before the immersive program starts. So if you're feeling this call inside, you want to have a conversation around if this is your year to jump into this priestess process, I'd love to talk with you. Reach out to me and read all about it on my website. In the meantime, if you would like to, marcellamcbride.com. Much love and blessings, ladies. So glad you stopped by. Hello, Christine. Miss you. Much love to you all. Have some awesome priestesses on the line tonight. Much love and blessings and sweet dreams.